Chapter 656, The Legend of Gods. This chapter is updated by Novels.pl. Is he crazy? A warrior who has just reached the Fish Dragon realm battling with seniors of the 8th change in the Fish Dragon realm. Even senior brother Geihao won't do something that crazy. Hanku was stunned by Lin Yue's reckless act. She stared at his back while caressing her snowy white chin. She had a faint smile on her face. He doesn't seem like he's stupid. So why did he make such a crazy decision? Even if he did have some fortuitous encounter, there's no way he can fight a monk of the 8th change in the Fish Dragon realm within such a short time. Half-Cent Zixia couldn't wipe out the frown on his face. He could not understand Lin Yue's decision. What on earth is this young fellow doing? Zhang Yuochen ignored the crowd's baffled reactions and remained calm. He took 2 steps back and raised his head. When he saw the name Lin Yue on the jade tablet, he nodded in satisfaction. One reason for him taking part in these sword duels was because of the glaze pellet. Another reason was that Zhang Yuochen wanted to raise his cultivation through these duels. Actually, a sword duel with warriors of the 8th change in the Fish Dragon realm was as far as he could go. Zhang Yuochen used Cyan Robed Emissary's strength as a reference. Cyan Robed Emissary was from the 7th change in the Fish Dragon realm, but her true strength had exceeded that of many monks of the 9th change in the Fish Dragon realm. Zhang Yuochen would take part in these sword duels as Lin Yue, which limited his abilities, like his spiritual power, time swordsmanship, space domain, the ancient abyss sword, dragon pearl and flowing light invisible cloak. Many of these trump cards must remain hidden. As a result, Zhang Yuochen could only use his power in the Tower of the Sword. Using this skill alone, he could only match Cyan Robed Emissary of the 7th change in the Fish Dragon realm. He might even be a little weaker than her. The Yin and Yang sect was not any weaker than Eastern Evil Land. On the tournament arena of the 7th change in the Fish Dragon realm, many favored sons, elders, and celebrities would be as powerful as Cyan Robed Emissary. Zhang Yuochen's best chance of winning was in the arena of the 7th change in the Fish Dragon realm. There was still 1 more month before the 9th of the 3rd month. Zhang Yuochen must break into the 5th change in the Fish Dragon realm before then. As long as he broke through the 5th change in the Fish Dragon realm before the contest, he would be able to sneak into the top 10 positions in the sword duels of the 8th change. He finally decided to fight in the arena of the 8th change in the Fish Dragon realm. Only someone under pressure could have this kind of motivation. Half-Cent Zixia was standing on the topmost stone step of the Supreme Pure Palace. His expression was solemn and cold. He extended his frail arm and condensed some purple holy chi. Rotating his wrist, the purple holy chi soared out. It swept Zhang Yuochen up, who was initially standing below the jade tablet. Zhang Yuochen could feel his surroundings spinning and his head muddled. The next thing he knew, he was standing next to Half-Cent Zixia. Zhang Yuochen was calm and composed. He cupped his right fist in his left hand and bowed to Half-Cent Zixia. "You have summoned me. What do you need, master?" Zhang Yuochen had been promoted to a saint's disciple. He was now Half-Cent Zixia's disciple, so he had to address Half-Cent Zixia as master. "Why did you choose the 8th jade tablet? Do you have any idea how difficult it will be?" asked Half-Cent Zixia solemnly. Half-Cent Zixia had high hopes for Lin Yue. He hoped Lin Yue would be able to squeeze into the top 10 of a particular realm. Only the top 10 contestants of a realm had the chance of learning the wordless sword manual. They would also participate in the Sword Technique Conference on the 9th of the 9th month. If Lin Yue chose the 4th change in the Fish Dragon realm or the 5th, he would definitely get into the top 10 and might even clinch first place. However, he chose the 8th jade tablet. It was impossible for him to win even one duel, let alone squeeze into the top 10. Zhang Yuochen said, "I would like to fight through it." Half-Cent Zixia's eyes turned very hardened, emitting a faint holy aura. He scolded Lin Yue, "You must always regulate yourself and advance steadily when you practice. You should not be haughty. If you forget yourself after some fortuitous encounter, then you are no different from a conceited frog in the well. I will erase your name from the 8th jade tablet and give you another chance. Do you know how to choose this time?" Many people lose sight of themselves after obtaining great power. They become conceited and self-centered. leading their lives to disaster. Half-Cent Zixia was stern to Lin Yue because he wanted to give him a warning. Half-Cent Zixia wanted to wake him up and guide him back to the right path. He did not want Lin Yue to be carried away by his fortuitous encounter. Only someone who cared deeply would feel such pain. But Zhang Yuochen had made up his mind. He was not going to change his decision. If he entered a sword contest of a lower realm, he would be able to get into the top 10 easily. However, he would not be able to train himself. It would be a waste of time. Zhang Yuochen tried to persuade Half-Cent Zixia. Master, I would still like to take part in the sword contest of the 8th change in the Fish Dragon realm. You disobedient disciple. Half-Cent Zixia was so angry that one could see him tremble incessantly. He raised his palm and was about to slap Zhang Yuochen, but finally restrained himself. Next to Half-Cent Zixia was Half-Saint Yuanlong, who was mocking Half-Cent Zixia's misfortune gleefully. Congratulations. Congratulations to Half-Cent Zixia for taking in such a good disciple. Lin Yue, I have high expectations from you. If you can get into the top 10, let me know. I will award you with a holy sword. Zhang Yuochen said, isn't this the right thing to do, sir? Yes. Nothing wrong with that. I like nurturing young talents like you. No need to be too polite. Ha ha. Half-Saint Yuanlong laughed so loudly as he took a step forward. He turned into a streak of holy light and disappeared into the horizon. Half-Saint Zixia gave Lin Yue a meaningful look and felt regret on his behalf. He could only sigh and shut his aging eyes. Without saying anything more, he waved his hand and said, since you've made up your mind, I won't dissuade you. There is an elder who wants to see you at Supreme Pure Palace. Go. Zhang Yuochen knew what had pained Half-Cent Zixia so much, but he did not want to change his decision. He gave Half-Cent Zixia a respectful bow and crossed the threshold and entered the palace. After Zhang Yuochen left, Half-Cent Zixia heaved a long sigh. He said, aggravated, he's an outstanding successor from Zixia Sacred Mountain. Why does he want to destroy himself? After all, the practice of the Holy Road was very personal and he had no business in it. With his great cultivation, Half-Cent Zixia could actually force Lin Yue to change his decision. He could make him participate in the sword duels of a lower realm, but he understood very well that this would not change Lin Yue's decision. What good was that? Half-Cent Zixia shook his head and felt disappointed with Lin Yue. He let out another sigh. Ignoring his thoughts about Lin Yue, he left Supreme Pure Palace. Entering the Supreme Pure Palace, Zhang Yuochen saw a white-robed elder standing in the middle of the grand hall. His grey hair was long, like a waterfall cascading to the floor. There was no great aura from him, and he seemed like an ordinary elder. However, Zhang Yuochen knew that no one whom Half-Cent Zixia addressed as elder could be ordinary. My respects to you, sir. Zhang Yuochen paid his respects. From the moment Zhang Yuochen entered, the grey-haired elder was watching him very carefully. His wrinkled face showed a kind smile. No need for ceremonies, Lin Yue. Do you know why I am meeting you in private? Zhang Yuochen stood up straight again. Does Elder want to know why the 800-mile immortal chi phenomenon occurred during the coronation ceremony? The grey-haired elder smiled. If I ask you, you will surely tell me you don't know why, won't you? I really don't know the reason, Zhang Yuochen replied calmly. Although they had just met, Zhang Yuochen could feel this old priest was not ordinary. It seemed that there was nothing he could hide from the elder. Who is he? The grey-haired old Taoist put his hands behind his back. You might not know the reason, but I do know a little about the incident. Would you like to know more? Please enlighten me, sir. The grey-haired old Taoist turned very solemn. Do you know that before the Middle Ancient times, gods existed in Kunlun's field? 100,000 years ago, someone broke the sacred root of Kunlun's field, the sacred prime tree. After that, gods stopped existing in this world. At that moment, the medieval ancient times ended, marking the start of a godless era, which is what we call the late antiquity. Zhang Yuochen listened silently and did not utter a word. The grey-haired old Taoist continued. The Yin and Yang sect is one of the three main branches of the Chi sect. It started in the ancient times and reached its acme during the medieval ancient times. Around 800,000 years ago, during the ancient times, three disciples of the Chi sect, High Pure, Jade Pure, and Grand Pure arrived at God-Falling Ridge and started the Yin and Yang sect. After hard work from countless successors and overcoming many upheavals, the Yin and Yang sect flourished. It finally evolved into the Yin and Yang sect you see today. Of course, what I've told you is merely a legend. Even the oldest books contain no records of our three patriarchs. I've read all the files of the Yin and Yang sect. The earliest records date to 200,000 years ago. The only evidence of an older history was scarce and fragmented. Nobody was sure if the ancient legend was true. Zhang Yuochen wrinkled his brows and asked, "What do you mean, sir?" The grey-haired old Taoist smiled and looked into Zhang Yuochen's eyes. "You've cultivated three sword comprehensions. That's very unique. It was no sword comprehension left in the past 200,000 years. In other words, whoever left that sword comprehension was someone from 200,000 years ago. The three patriarchs were the only ones who left their names behind 200,000 years ago. They are the only ones part of the story being retold today." Zhang Yuochen laughed. "Are you suggesting that the three sword comprehensions I've integrated were from our first three patriarchs? It may be impossible for others, but not for you. You've experienced four chords of the gods. Your body bears God's mark and the destiny chi from the gods. So it's quite possible for you to obtain the sword comprehensions from our three patriarchs." The grey-haired old Taoist continued to stare at Zhang Yuochen with his smiling eyes. A fearful wave surged within Zhang Yuochen's heart. Who on earth was this old Taoist? How did he know he had gone through four chords of the gods?